And you
I'm
can't.
not touching their stuff.
And
I have no idea.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, then we're off and running with our experts.
During
I've
the
been having a wood
C-word
shortage.
process, well, that can happen as you get older in life. Come on, man. This is a joke.
Well, you put cologne on your butt?
Well,
So in order to play, you have to wear jorts.
I don't have George. I could probably wear a Speedo now.
Want to do that? No, you probably could.
He'll be over here tomorrow digging out a big-ass bush.
Sonny and share, like and share, whatever.
Yeah.
Just something and share.
Yes, hello. Here we are again. It's Campbell and Finn, another edition of Larger Than Live. After a little holiday respite. I don't know why I like that word respite, but I just do. I don't even really know what the hell it means except
You are
break.
using it in context.
I am. I thought I was. So it is season 2, episode 16 already. Hard to believe, but we appreciate you tuning in. And we're doing this a little bit differently in season 2. We've kind of dwindled it down, shall we say. We've shaved off a little, maybe would be a better way to say it, to a couple topics, 2 or 3. Then we add in some extras when we feel like it or when we feel like posting them or when somebody else feels like posting them, I think is the way it goes. But besides this, don't forget, we are live, Larger Than Live, literally live every Wednesday, and this is a big one. This Wednesday at the Moorline Lager House out on the event lawn, weather permitting, because I know it's supposed to be intermittent. I got all kinds of words I'm dropping into.
You don't, look
Showers.
at you. Did you get one of those word of the day calendars while I was gone?
I did, and I've been reading it feverishly.
outstanding.
But the Red Hot Reds,
Yeah!
just rolling over those horrifying Cardinals, winning a 4-game series in St. Louis. Yesterday's in dramatic fashion after squandering, there's another one, a 7-0 lead. They rally back on Jesse Winker's 3rd home run of the day, and the Reds win 8-7. So they're inching ever so close to your favorite thing, 500.
Yeah.
Right. So the Brewers come to town. Brewers are tied with the Cubs right now atop the NL Central. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and we'll be down at the Moorline Lager House 5-7. So why not get your pregame on with us, have a few of those awesome Moorline beers, some of their great menu, and get primed for a just after 7 first pitch.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Fred, before we get into the regular
Yes.
show, I watched the game yesterday, and they were up 7-0 as soon as I turned it on. I go, well, this is over now. Somebody said, why? I said, they're going to lose on a walk-off. They have a 7-run lead. I said, but this is what happens. As soon as I start watching, this is what happens. Winker comes out, hits the home run. Honestly, with guys on 2nd and 3rd, you thought it was going to be the 3-run walk-off, lose by 2. That's just sort of where you go. But this is the sort of thing. And I take credit for this sweep because I drove past St. Louis last week on the way down
Well, then you would
to
have-
Brownson and on the way back, and I did this on the way back both times. So I think it's because of me that they swept. But this is what the Reds do. You get a sweep over the Cardinals for the first time at their place in 30 years.
Correct. That's
a
correct.
4-game sweep
yes,
in 30
that's correct.
years.
Back to 1990. Remember that year?
I do remember that
And if you
year.
don't, we'll be reminded of it by them. Anyway, go ahead.
But but it's always that. It's
It is
just enough.
It is, but
it's
you're right.
just enough.
But to your point, though, you would have thought yesterday, lead, then 9-8 loss. However, if you look at St. Louis's lineup, which is predominantly a minor league lineup, with the exception of a couple hitters, it was funny. I was watching the extra, and right when it got to be 2nd and 3rd, I told Michael, I go, well, this is how it ends.
Yeah.
Because the 3 guys that the Cardinals sent up were horrific. But nonetheless, Reds win.
Good for them.
But to your point, I'll take it one step farther. Is it further or farther? I always get confused.
Yes.
Okay, right, both. So what they'll do is they'll probably win 2 or 3 from the Brewers, and then the lowly Rockies will come in. This is what they do.
Yeah.
Then the Rockies will come in, who are horrific. And that's when they
Well, we've heard that
poop
before
themselves.
as well. Now,
but anyway.
But I will say this,
Yes.
and one of the things that happened, I guess, while I was gone was the big Castellanos banner went up outside,
Correct.
kind of facing toward the Holy Grail.
Right.
And people were like, that's not good sportsmanship. I don't think we should do that. It makes us look Bush League and blah, blah. You know what? Bullshit. Make a bobblehead out of that. Him flexing and his arms flexing like that. I think you should. I mean, and I know you have a problem with it because you need to be able to back it up.
Right. It
with
isn't
that
about. I don't
attitude.
care about sport.
I
It's
love
not-
that image, and they need to have that image. Run with that.
Here's my issue. It's not the sportsmanship. It is the fact that you're under 500. You're still in 4th place. You're not flexing until you get ahead of the other teams.
But honestly,
that's my issue. And let me just make this statement. And I don't want to squelch any of whatever you want to, the euphoria. There's another one for you of Reds fans currently. Has anyone watched the Giants, Padres, and Dodgers? There are those 3 teams, and the rest of the National
Everybody
League
else.
is a nice try. I mean, one of the three will win the West. The other two will get the wild cards. Not that you can't win the Central and then just get thwacked. There's another one for you in the postseason.
Yeah,
you ever been thwacked?
For only when I watched the original Batman.
You don't, right? Oh, didn't you used to love those?
Thwack.
You don't want to be thwacked.
Or read Mad Magazine. Man, we're really.
Did you ever collect those?
I did.
I did
My
too.
mom threw them all away. I'm
I
still
think
pissed
I
off about
lost
that.
them. Man, they probably be worth something.
Oh, I had the Towering Inferno and some of the old school One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest parodies. I had some of those old school ones. But
yes,
I love that attitude. I love that Castellanos pose down.
I'm not
love
against
that
the
image,
attitude.
and I think they need to keep that. But it's so funny because in football, well, it's just emotion, and they're just excited, and they're just playing the game. In baseball, just bad sportsmanship.
Well, the problem
no,
about
it's not.
The problem
God.
that I have with football, and I think you'll agree with me, is that Castellanos move wasn't about Castellanos.
Right.
That was about the moment and what had just occurred in the big old bad Cardinals. The problem I have with football, and I know you do too, is it's all about me.
Yeah, me.
It's all about self-promotion.
Yeah, and that's celebrated.
Correct.
And this
is correct.
This is poo-pooed, if you will.
Well, I saw a thing quickly before we go. I saw the Brewers traded for a guy named Willie Adonis from the Devil. You'll love this, from the Rays, my bad, who couldn't hit inside the Rays park because he couldn't see the baseball. He tried to keep telling him that, and he was crushing it on the road, terrible at home. Well, now he's crushing it for the Brewers. He'll be coming to town tomorrow night. But I heard an interview with him after the game, and he goes, you know what? I'm just celebrating. That's the feeling you're supposed to have.
Right.
Because he was doing that. He was doing like that fist bump after he hit a home run, whatever the case may be. Anyway, I digress because we had other things to get to, including a major topic in the gamble family.
You did. You also mentioned something.
Yes.
I don't understand. I mean, I understand like Winker has this whole series of things that he did after he hit a home run. I will never understand professional baseball players when they come in and they slam their forearms together. It seems like at some point you're going to bruise your forearm or you're going to snap your radius or your ulna. Hey, I'll try those two on for size. But I don't understand that as a celebratory move to begin with because it looks like you're going to shatter your forearm.
Here's the only problem I have with Winker, and it damn near happened. After he hit the home run, he went out to his outfield position and did this whatever to the Reds bullpen. I get that. But then even one of my sons goes up, you know what, you do that, you deserve to lose. And minutes later, they had runners on second and third with nobody. That's the part of it. Win the game, do all that. But that kind of, I don't think I need that.
Well, he was out there saying, I got you guys, whatever.
Right,
let's do this. Let's finish this.
But they know that. You just did it with 3 home runs anyway. I don't have an ulna. I have an Olda.
Yeah, right.
I have an Olda.
Well, I have fractured my radius and my ulna, I do believe, at one point. That's why I know when I pronated and supinated. Sorry, we didn't tell you that this was going to be the vocabulary version of the program.
You say a word and I'll try to identify its meaning.
All right, well, I will say nothing says reaching for the stars like the word dwindle, which you used earlier, which is great. We're dwindling.
We are dwindling.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Ask.
I got back home. Before I left a week ago Wednesday.
Right.
And was out of town for a handful of days when the cicada invasion was coming. And I'm like, honestly, I'll be glad to be out of here when that happens. I get back and I'm like, where?
Once again, Fred.
Where?
I'm not being facetious when I say this. We have a tree line in our backyard. The neighborhood's old enough to have trees. It has trees. I haven't seen in the neighborhood. I've not seen one.
Now, granted, I mean, like we went walking at Sharon Woods, and some of the trees I think house them more than certain other ones. But I live in Milford, a tree city.
Well, yeah, and
honestly,
old
trees,
right?
And they're not that bad. I've seen one flying around. Now, blue ash. One of my better half, one tree, she's got it. There's loaded with them, and they are allowed. But I mean, I was under the impression that when I got back to town,
you were going to
I was going to have to get in,
I'm with
an
you.
ODOT, snow shovel truck to get around town. Why do we have to? And I think this is something to do with this city, the superlative nature of this city. Everything is the biggest thing, the best thing, the most impactful thing, the scariest thing. Why do we have to live like this? It's ridiculous.
Well, it goes with the weather impact day. It's not a weather impact day if it rains. Right. That's not an impact. That's just rainfall. That's part of it. Dude, I'm telling you, remember we had what is he called? Remember we had the guy
not epidemiologist.
No, not that.
No.
He was the cicada expert. We'll just leave it at that.
Right, yeah.
That dude was, when he was talking to us,
so excited.
he was running around nude,
Entomologist.
He was, thank you, entomologist. Yes. I almost went the epidemic, whatever. You know what I'm trying. I can't, those are too long. Too many syllables, I get confused. But that guy, he talked as though literally you weren't going to be able to walk outside your house. And think about this. It's not like they're going to suddenly appear now. They're out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
if they're coming out, they're out.
but again, it didn't materialize the way we thought. And so this past weekend, it's like, you think they were bad last week? Oh, just wait till next week. I'm
Right.
like,
That's
what are you talking
right.
about? Plus, like I said, I saw more of them in Blue Ash. We were driving Blue Ash Loveland yesterday. And I
it's
see 'em-
very territorial around Greater
yeah,
Cincinnati.
and I had a few slam into my car on the way over here. But the funny thing is, I never realized this. They look like you're just a bunch of drunk pilots. None of them fly in a straight line. They're like,
That's
I think
okay
they're blind.
because they're
Are they
flying.
blind?
They are blind. They can't see.
They
Yes,
are
I do.
blind.
They
So
are
even with those
blind,
giant
yes.
red eyes, they're blind because they're like
Yes.
flying all over, smacking into stuff or
Well,
whatever.
that's why they hit you because they can't. They don't want to hit you.
They just look like
can't
they're
see
drunk
you.
little pilots in
Right.
little bitty biplanes.
They can't see. So good. Yes,
All
they
right.
can't.
That's all I
Yes.
wanted to ask. Did
All
I
right, thank
miss
you.
something? Did they come and go while I was gone?
No.
Because when I left here, I thought, good Lord, I'm going to have to tunnel home from.
Well, you
know,
remember I
from
played
Branson.
golf at a golf course. Now I will give you could hear them. At least I could hear them for the first 9. You could hear them in the trees. And then I will tell you that beyond that, but they never really, we saw maybe 2 or 3 the entire 18 holes.
Yeah, I
Make that
thought
19
we were
holes.
going to, it was like 300. Oh, our cicadas will block out the sun. Then we will fight in the shade. I just thought when I got back, I'm like, what did I miss? How long have I been gone? Did they come
Nothing.
and go?
You left Mayberry, you came back, and Mayberry still stands.
Yes, superlative and natty, I think is going to.
I even saw some people on social media say, like, I was at Summer Fair. They're not too bad down here. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. We're waiting for disaster. We want things to be over the top, good, bad, or otherwise. And it just seems like it's a constant, oh my God, here's what could go wrong. And I used to be accused of being that person. Why do you always focus on things that are going to go wrong? I'm just prepared. This is not prepared, and this is unnecessary hype. Again, I really thought, based on the way that guy was talking, that we were going to have to get the snowplows out to push these things off
Right. Well, I
the
think,
walls on 71 North.
Again, I am still to this day stunned that the local news channels, and I'm sorry, I know we have a number of them on our show on Thursday nights on 700 WLW, the reality check. Well, they need a reality check of their newsroom because everything is still COVID. I'm like, what can you be talking?
Yeah.
Now it should you send your kid to a camp? What do you need to wear at a camp? You know what? You need to wear clothes and get outside and enjoy the camp like you should and stop talking about this, please. How about this concept? Go out and find some real news.
Yeah.
News. Look it up.
And live your life. And there are places that are
Jesus.
still wearing masks because they're going to give it an extra couple of weeks just for the feeling of security for the customers that are working their way back in. But for the most part, brother, when I was down in Branson over the Memorial Day weekend, it's business as usual. Now, there was a 90-minute wait at one of the. Remember, I told you.
Oh, you said 3. You had projected 3 to 5 hours.
Some
That's
the
what they
first couple
told
weeks
you, right?
back, they were 3 to 5 hour waits for restaurants, which is absurd because you go in for lunch and you have to wait till dinner to eat your lunch.
Right.
But they did say 90 minutes, and we said, I don't think so. So
Right.
we
Now,
let.
let
And
me
then some
ask you.
places were closed; they couldn't even have people to work.
If you went in for lunch and had to wait until nearly dinner, would you then, while you were there, would you eat lunch and dinner at the same time?
No, we went and found someplace else.
Okay, but if you had to, would you eat 2 meals? I would.
I would just make one that really counts.
Massive?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be a big one. But so anyway, so that was my time away, and then I came back and I was waiting for the disaster cicada palooza or whatever.
Now, you don't even have them around like when you sit out front and
No, I've
drink
got
a little
some.
bottled water?
I got some, but I don't.
Right.
I'm not buried under.
Well, let me
them.
give you a newsflash. We have 0.
Yeah, and
Zero.
I hear
and I mean, I don't even. We don't even hear them.
I hear them in Blue Ash, but
Okay.
like in
All
Milford again. Well, whatever. I know we've beaten it to death,
Okay,
but the
done.
problem, I think that was the whole point.
Leave the cicadas
We're beating
be.
it to death.
We beat
and
everything
It's not
to death.
happening.
We beat
I
everything
see
to
the
death.
holes in
Now-
the yard, and the
and
dog
look-
wants to sniff them, but I just don't see them.
I feel. I'm going to give you another thing that we're beating, and this is. I hate to be news media again. So tomorrow night is grand reopening 3. I think opening day. I mean, at some point, it's another baseball game.
Yeah.
You've played almost 60 games. It's a home game. I know. I get it. You can be full capacity, but come on.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you this. And,
Yes, please tell me.
Before we get into our next topic, we'll reset. Season 2, Episode 16, Gamble and
Right.
Finn, Larger Than Life, here at House Gamble in the Studio G. Don't forget, partnered by our friends at Fueled Collective, who I
Right.
got to figure
Yes.
have geared back up fully now. They've
Absolutely.
gotten rid of the mask mandate. If you're somebody that needs office space but don't want to spend the money on an office, this is the perfect place for you. Rookwood, go check them out. It's called Fueled Collective. And once you get in there and maybe have a cocktail at the bar, and while you're on a conference call or video conference, you'll understand why. But
and you can go next door and eat at Agave and Rye, and then come back and drink a little more. I'm getting hungry just thinking.
I know.
About
The
this,
more we
though.
talk about food, you're going to start hearing the rumbly and the tumbly.
But and it should be duly noted that we were off last Wednesday because when the Reds kaboolied, look that up. When the Reds kaboolied the
reopening
day, so too did we. Just knowing that it was miserable.
Yeah.
They made a wise decision.
Yeah.
So we're back in full force this Wednesday. We weren't here last Monday because we were observing, as you were as well, Memorial Day.
Yep.
So there you go.
And
Now
hopefully for the proper reasons.
Correct.
But it's funny because I was talking to your lovely bride when I got
Yes.
here while you were, I believe one of your sons described it as he is cleansing his loins.
Yeah, that's.
Is what I was told you were doing. I don't want to know anymore. But
And you still want food?
yeah, right. I'm not as hungry as I once was. But I would say
Yes.
she mentioned something that it became a topic of conversation in this house that I've had this conversation internally and out loud
It'll be
a
great.
number of times.
So we live in the county of Boone, Kentucky, and at once we thought this was out, right? Like way out. Now you can't go a mile without sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Sure.
But nonetheless, occasionally we drive due west, and we have a little favorite farm we go to out there. They sell like plants and vegetation, all that kind of stuff. So we went there yesterday, and as we parked the vehicle, in comes a massive truck, and Henrietta gets out of the driver's seat. She was driving. Husband, boyfriend, significant other, whatever was in the passenger seat. And Lori, of course, has mentioned to me multiple times she'd like to drive a truck. So I look over, and Henrietta had on kind of like pseudo overalls, kind of like whatever.
Okay.
And suddenly the conversation of hillbilly came up, to which Lori said to me that she thinks she would like to be a hillbilly.
Yeah.
And basically, then we started getting into, like, from there. And she said, is it too late to be a hillbilly? I go, well, it's never too late. I mean, you can do it. I mean, what? And then I said, well, let me ask you, what constitutes a hillbilly?
Right.
Is it the way you speak? Is it the way you dress? Is it where you live? Is it what you do? Is it all the above? And how would you preferentially rank them? And then I said, look, I would have no issue whatsoever being a Billy. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I could be a Bill Hilly today, I would, because here's why. To me, they seem like slower pace, less worries. They're just not, they're not going to, the hustle and bustle of this nonsensical bullshit that we deal with every day isn't there.
Yeah. And I think, growing up in Louisville and using the word growing instead of growing indicates a little bit about, my background. And I think it's funny because you get on that hamster wheel and you go, 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 go. And sometimes you forget what matters. And I think there's a certain part, because look at like Duck Dynasty and the people that are painted as hillbillies online, some country music stars.
Right,
There's not a hillbilly country music star out there. And I don't give a you take the guy that did the Red Cup song, all that. That's fake country. They're not living the hillbilly life. But I mean, you don't have to go all the way back to the Beverly Hillbillies, but I think it is a lifestyle with which you can quickly and easily become comfortable with whatever you have. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And for those who want to look down on somebody who can appreciate a life that they have simplified down to the core of the things that they need and the people they want around them. I mean, look at when you watch a show that's allegedly about hillbillies, there's a million of them around,
Right.
but they're all around people that they either want to punch in the face and then get along with, or that they just get along with. And I say we and they because you and I have been caught up in this whole thing about, well, in order to be successful, you have to have this and this and this. And I would venture to say, to your point, no. You have to have the things that you need. You got to be able to go out and do something over here that just makes you happy. You got to go shoot a goose or whatever the hell it is that you want to do that's simple, and then you can be happy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, for me, if I could have land, I would have no issue. My house, some land, I would just hang out. I would have. Now, don't misunderstand me. For me, because I've not lived that lifestyle to this point, wish I would have. But if I had not done that, there are some things that I think you do become accustomed to that I still would want to have. You know what I mean? Like, I still would want to be able to get the baseball package because I like baseball.
Right.
I want to watch baseball. But honestly, beyond that,
But you know what? And I
don't
think
give a
that's the
damn.
redefinition of the term hillbilly. It doesn't
Right.
just have to mean Southern. It just has to
Right.
mean, it just has to pertain to people that have found a comfort zone in their life and an environment within which they're happy. I mean, I have simplified my life as much as I possibly can. And I sit around in my underwear in my own house by myself. And some would say, well, that's a hillbilly lifestyle. But you know what it is? It's a comfort zone that I have found,
Do you really
and I'm
not even
okay.
put shorts on?
No, sometimes I don't put anything on.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Don't put anything on?
Sometimes I just go sit on my couch naked.
So that couch that I've sat on before.
No, you don't sit on that. I'm the only one
you
that sits on that
okay,
cushion.
shoot,
I wouldn't.
okay.
I wouldn't subject you to that
that's-
cushion.
Okay, that's bad.
But you know what I mean. But it's not like I'm going out rolling around in the yard and then doing it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if you had, let's go 3. If you had to kind of tell me the top 3 kind of definers of hillbilly today, what would it be? It's got to be in a way language.
There's only one. Yeah, but it all boils down to one thing. You don't give a shit. You don't care what anybody
Yeah,
thinks of
okay.
you. So that means you can
So then-
say whatever
so
you
then
want.
my
You can
wife-
do whatever you want.
So I
and
try
you
to
can
tell
live
her,
whatever you
and
want.
then we got into tattoos. She goes, "Yeah, I'd get a tattoo." I go, "Oh, great! I think tattoos." Now let me preface this: tattoos on women are sexy if you're not obese. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Right.
I don't need some horrifyingly overweight woman wearing a tank top with arms that are rippled with a tattoo. I mean, that has nothing to do with hillbilly. That's just That's just awful. Right? Am I right though? You don't want to. Do you want to see that?
I don't want to see that.
Well, right. That's my point. But so we started talking about tattoos. I'm like, I'm like, I love me like the ankle tat. I like the subtle tattoo.
Yeah.
Like I don't need, or like I'll go with the sleeve if done.
Right.
And you'll go.
You can also overdo that.
You can overdo it, but you'll go with me on this. You can also tell when Jim the neighbor was the tattoo artist.
Well, right.
And when you actually went to a professional shop.
Yeah, I mean, if you went and got one done,
Like, did you
properly
run out of
versus-
ink?
Yeah,
Well,
or if you did
right.
one with a Zippo lighter and a coat
Right.
hanger,
Right.
a prison tattoo.
Hold that thought on Zippo lighter. Get back to golf outing momentarily. which we
Okay,
haven't
but
touched
no,
on
I
yet.
think
Yes.
it boils
Okay.
down to this thing. I mean, look, there's a way of speaking that does drive me crazy because, again, being from Louisville,
Right. Or
I
Louisville.
always laugh.
Right.
I always laugh because I said women from Louisville held that accent as long as they could
Yeah.
because guys think it's
Oh,
sexy.
I love me a little accent.
a little
too.
southern
Yeah,
accent.
Absolutely.
Guys who wanted to get out of my area
Tried to get rid of
got
that?
rid of the accent.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
otherwise, I mean, because like it or not, there is a predisposition
Oh, there
to think
is.
that somebody with a heavy, thick southern accent, especially if they're male, isn't as all there
Correct.
as anybody else, which is not necessarily
No,
the case.
not
but
true
I
at all.
will say this, and this is the one thing I don't understand, and it goes back to the fact that I guess they just don't give a shit. They don't care.
Right.
And by they, again, I don't mean to sound elitist. I'm just saying people that
Right.
choose this speech
Correct.
pattern who say things like, I seen that, or I
that one.
don't, she don't do that no more. Well, that's a double negative.
Right.
So that means they do it. So that kind of guys spend a
Will we
lot of
be
time
okay?
because I think the most powerful tool we have in our toolbox is the language. And if you have good ideas, you can get them from here out to here. That's the key. And I think the language is the most important tool we have.
about here?
Not anymore.
Right.
I don't think the language
don't
is
have to-
anymore. I
right.
mean, look at the athletes and look at some of the different people and just the butchering of the language.
So let
and
me
then
ask
you're just
you
told,
this.
well, that's just how it is now. I disagree.
Would a hillbilly have a flip phone still today or no phone?
Or a brick phone, one of those little like Saved by the Bell, Zach phones. Yeah, don't you think? I think so.
So I'm going to follow. If you're watching and want to chime in and send us some things, if you know somebody has anyone converted to Billy? That's a
Billy?
question. That's a question.
I think
right?
I'm going to.
I mean,
I
it's
can
an
see myself
interesting.
doing that. You said mention overalls. I'm like, I haven't had a good pair of overalls in a while.
Well, overalls are awesome because really, if you think about it, what underneath, whatever.
Oh, it's just a giant diaper that goes over your shoulders.
It
to be
doesn't
honest
matter,
with you.
right? Do
I
you
had
remember
a
the
pair.
wrestler Haystacks Calhoun?
Haystacks Calhoun, absolutely.
In his
Yeah,
overalls.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I
Yeah,
believe he did
yeah.
as well.
The
And
Bushwhackers.
Hillbilly Jim,
Yeah,
Big
right.
Jim.
See?
It was
I think we have just found our next couple
calling.
years.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think you
we
may be
have.
right.
I think we found a little transition.
Well, we need to get your property, and build a compound.
Right.
Okay. And then we got to keep the revenuers off of it. And
Well,
no,
Lori's
I
actually-
think it boils down to the fact that they just don't. They don't. Somebody that's adopted a lifestyle that says, "Hell, I'm a hillbilly." They just don't care what other people think, and I think we need more of that.
Lori actually has a couple friends, and they want to literally. We've discussed buying a piece of property and everybody just building and just hanging out there.
Yeah.
Just not,
It's
why?
not unheard of.
It's enticing.
also known as the West Side.
Well, you could be, but you
Well, of Louisville as well. West side of Louisville, folks do that too. Buy the house across from your parents and then live there for the rest of your life. It's kind of crazy.
Now, I didn't get a chance to. By the way, it's Gamble and Finn, Larger Than Live,
Making
Season
friends.
2, Episode 16. If you're a hillbilly, we want to be you. So I didn't have a chance to discuss my golf outing.
Oh, man.
And so I don't know that this is doctor recommended before tee off, but my playing partner, his name will remain perhaps anonymous, said, yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to get, I can't remember whether it was Advil or Aleve, it was one of the A's, right? And he went to the concession stand, and they had little 2-packs, right? So he bought 2 of them. I'm like, dude, you really should be taking 4 of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
He did. Okay, so you're good. So I could see him over there in the car he's driving, getting frustrated. Give me that. He couldn't open it, right? So I got the first one open, took those. Then I started to work on the second one. Literally, I couldn't get it open. And nobody could get it open. He got it open. He used the lighter that we used to light our cigars to open the pack of, I think it was Advil. Hey, you do what you got to do out on the course. Let me just say this. We had a great time. We had a foursome. We did not win. We did not care.
You don't go to one. You don't play those
dude,
to win.
we had it. It was fun.
Well, I love the fact that you slyly hinted at this earlier. Said you heard the cicadas at least on the front 9, which means you couldn't barely hear anything, probably because you were numb on the back 9. Is that correct?
Back 9 got a little
dicey.
It was. I mean, I don't think I really hit much off the tee on the back 9 because I might have gone with the club. Might have. Well, I'll just sum it up with this. So we went in the clubhouse, and at some point, I think someone told us to leave because it was getting rather late. On a golf course, not a bar. So I had sat, and I have the world's largest and heaviest and stupidest golf bag. It's an old one, and I have so many clubs in there that I don't use.
Right.
I think I lost one of my irons too. I don't know, but I don't really care. So anyway, at the end of the night, I go out with Lori, and I go, hey, let me grab my clubs. So I bent down, and when I picked them up, I almost fell over. It literally, the weight of the bag damn near took me.
You have the Rodney Dangerfield bag from Caddyshack to have the beer tap pop up.
I
with the
wish.
stereo in
We
it?
didn't need that. It was bad. We had one with a cooler in it, though it worked, but we had a great. You know what? And when you can play around, we all looked at each other at the end and said, well, why don't we do this more often?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I had one like that as well. It was for charity, and that was the second time I played this year. I played horribly, and I had the most fun I've had playing golf in 10 years.
Now, 3 days later, I played in the opening night of the golf league, and honest to God, I'm about through that bag in the lake. I was so bad because that wasn't, you know what I mean? That was just 9 holes going around, and I was trying to be respectable.
Well, and here's the other thing, though. The problem with me is the more I play and the more I actually feel like I care, like I think I might be good, then the more I get mad about it, and there's no reason to do that. But here's what I love, too. When you're just standing around waiting to start and you hear people talking, it's like, oh, yeah, I went over to Golf Galaxy and they tweaked my thing 1 degree to the northeast toward the South Pole, and that really made a huge difference in my lift and my follow-through on my left elbow and my right earlobe, and beep, beep, beep. I'm like, good Lord, dude, this is supposed to be fun. Stop it.
Well, I like
Stop.
this. I like this one, too. What club did you hit? I hit a 68 degree. Don't give me the degree. Just I don't work in degrees. I hit an iron that has a number or a wedge. I don't need degrees.
Well, the guy we were playing in a 4-person group, but it was 2-man scramble in each cart. And my partner, Tom, I'll just name him, Tom Brewer. He knows he's terrible. And I was not much better.
We know we're terrible.
I was not much better, but he'd look at me and go, what did you hit? I go, what difference does it make what I hit? You can't do that.
Well, you know what I say? When they say, what'd you hit? I say poorly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, bad.
I just
that
looked at him. I
sucks.
said, hit everything you've got. Well, you haven't put one past the ladies' tee yet. It doesn't matter what I hit.
And Lori
just
says
hit something you can make contact with.
Lori says, why don't you take a lesson? I'm like, my God,
it's too late for
why?
that.
Why? What person would I go to and say, here I am.
Yeah.
Give me your best 30.
Here's what I want you to
can
do.
you imagine?
I
what
want you to set up a lesson, and I'll
Yes.
meet you there.
Okay.
And then we'll just take your money, set it on fire, and go get some beers.
Okay.
How about that?
Well, Doug
Why-
Martin, I used to joke with Doug about teach me a lesson, and he'd just shake his head. I go, you're not going to fix my game.
Yeah. You know who's going to learn the lesson? The pro.
Right.
Nah, I'm never doing that again.
Probably drive him out of the business. I used to be a teaching professional until that dude showed up.
Yes. It was the one drive I got all day, drove me right out of teaching.
Right. Oh, my God.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yes,
We'll get to
okay.
the extras. We do these on the YouTube channel, Gamble Capital and Fin. That's where all our social media allegedly exists. When you get to YouTube, smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get up to 210 subscribers. We've only been at 208 for about 6 months, but let's get it up there because that way we can
I guess I could
make just enough
subscribe.
money to become hillbillies.
Oh, I'd love it.
Wouldn't that
man.
be great?
And don't forget, we encourage all hillbillies Wednesday, 5 to 7.
Come on.
Come on, Moorline Lager House. We be there. 5 to 7 outside on the lawn. Enjoy yourself a nice beer. We might even buy your ass one if you
Oh, my
come.
goodness. You have a chance to win gift
Yeah,
cards,
you
all
do.
kinds of stuff. Our Gamble and Fin cornhole boards are out there. Our first step towards becoming hillbillies. We have our own
we
cornhole
do.
boards.
That's correct.
And bags. So come on out and join us 5 to 7 Wednesday, Moorline Lager House. We are off the entire month of June on 700 WLW as the Reds continue to chase 500 up and down and up and down and up and down. But we will be at Moorline Lager House Wednesday, 5 to 7. You'll find us on YouTube and the extras after we wrap this up. So to get to that, we got to get done with this. He's Gamble, I'm Finn.
And we are out.